to where we are right now. There was a lot of moving parts and a lot of people working tirelessly, like hundreds of people. So to me, this honestly feels like a shift in humanity, because there's so many people that have shown up for us, where historically we've often felt like we've been on our own.
This order will last 14 days. The government can extend it up to 2 years, and it mimics draft legislation that would apply to other chemical compounds that cause health problems.
The emergency order basically ensures that those draft regulations are enforced right now, specifically for the case of Ongenon and what's happening in Sarnia.
INEOS has ignored all media requests from CBC News related to the orders. In a statement released earlier this month, the company warned that shutting down the plant would have impacts on the local and national economy. The plant receives benzene from nearby refineries that experts say may run out of storage now that INEOS cannot store or process the byproduct.
That can't be used as a justification to poison people. It just can't, and it's unacceptable that the company would say that.
The company is appealing the actions taken by the provincial government. They're asking the Ontario Land Tribunal to stay the order and allow it to reopen. Chris Hensing, CBC News, Windsor.
Ontario's Public Health Agency is reporting that a child under the age of 5 from Hamilton has died of measles. It's the first measles death in the province in decades. With cases on the rise globally, health experts are urging Canadians to get vaccinated. The CBC's Talia Ricci has more.
Public Health Ontario said the child who died was not vaccinated against measles. Officials haven't confirmed when the child died or their exact age.
Even though there's an awful and tragic case in Ontario, it's also important to remember that there are about 130,000 deaths related to measles all over the world per year, and that the vast majority of these deaths are in children and, of course, are preventable.
A report from the health agency shows there were no other measles-related deaths recorded in the province since 1989, when tracking first began. Measles has been on the rise across Canada as cases increase globally, particularly in Europe.
We will see Canadians who might travel abroad who are unvaccinated or undervaccinated possibly pick up this infection and bring it home, or other travelers come to Canada with this infection. We have seen imported cases. Unfortunately, that's going to be an ongoing issue.
There have been 22 cases in the province so far this year. 6 of those cases were in Toronto. 15 of the cases were linked to travel. 13 of the cases were children, and in 12 of those instances, the children were not vaccinated, while the vaccination status of 1 was unknown. The report says 5 infections, all in unvaccinated children under 5 years old, required hospitalization.
Initially, it can be like any kind of viral infection where you have a runny nose, coughing. We might have these spots inside of your gum, inside your cheek, and then you get, usually a few days later, you get the typical symptoms of a rash that usually starts in the head and goes down, and you can get red eyes, again, fever, and then from there can be all kinds of complications.
Doctors are also saying that interruptions to childhood vaccination schedules during the pandemic means that some children may have missed a dose.
Now, there's been a lot of outreach from public health units to really ensure people are up to date, especially if they might have missed a vaccine or two during some of those darker days.
As well, so in some places, the infrastructure for public health and vaccination has decreased. But also with COVID, there was an increase in the amount of people having vaccine hesitancy.
According to the Canadian Immunization Guide, the first dose should be given when a child is 12 to 15 months of age, and the second at 18 months or any time after that, but no later than around school entry. Doctors say if you're planning to travel with an infant, the first shot can be moved up to 6 months in some cases. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
David Mugé, President and CEO of Windsor Regional Hospital, is being seconded to London Health Sciences Centre. That is effective this week. It was announced today that Chief Nursing Executive Karen Riddell will become acting president while Mugé is working in London. It's unclear how long this arrangement will last. London's hospital called it an open-ended period of time. The previous president of London Health Science Centre remains on leave. In a statement, the hospital said Mugé will continue to be involved in the planning and construction of the new hospital here in Windsor. Mugé is, in a statement today, said a stable and strong London Health Sciences Centre is good for London, Windsor, the region, the province, Canada, and in fact, internationally. University of Windsor officials and the organizers of a pro-Palestinian encampment on campus met late this afternoon for the first time. They voiced their demands, but the university didn't specifically express what they would meet them. The group says that senior administration and Windsor President Robert Gordon weren't present at the meeting. As of May 10th, the group has been sleeping in tents on campus. They've said they won't leave until the university meets their demands, which includes the school divesting of investments that benefit Israel. They also want the institution to take a stance on the war in Gaza. 30 years ago to the day, the doors to the first casino in Ontario opened to the public. What was then known as Casino Windsor gained a lot of attention from locals as well as those visiting from the States. The CBC's Dale Molnar on how the casino changed Windsor.
Before the general public was allowed in, the casino held an invitation-only event on May 14, 1994, and it wasn't where the casino currently sits today.
Windsor is going to be one of Canada's top tourist destinations.
It all started here at the old art gallery, which was refurbished into the casino. The first location, where the aquatic center is now, was temporary. It proved so popular, the province started a floating casino in 1995 called the Northern Belle. The permanent casino opened in 1998, where the casino currently stands. And in 2008, the addition west of McDougall opened with a new tower, the Coliseum entertainment venue, and ballrooms. And of course, it was rebranded Caesars Windsor.
The mighty Emperor of Rome, Julius Caesar. I would not leave you.
NDP MPP Dave Cook, a cabinet minister in 1992, says government bureaucrats were considering starting 3 casino pilot projects in Ontario, but there was pushback in cabinet.
I think I was able to convince a number of people, but more importantly, the Premier came on side and said, all right, if they don't want to do 3, let's do 1, and let's do it in Windsor.
In 1994, the employees voted 98% in favor of joining CAW Local 444, bringing in about 3,000 members.
And we were creating a whole new gaming sector starting in Windsor that is now spread out through the province of Ontario and Canada.
The casino has generated hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue for the province, more than $92 million to the city of Windsor, and $16 million in donations to local charities and organizations over the last 30 years. Caesars is marking the anniversary with a 30th anniversary mural in the back of house, and the employees are doing volunteer work.
Everything from serving meals to packing food hampers and working in food banks.
But with the spin-off benefits come the negative side effects. According to a certified problem gambling counselor, gambling addiction has increased in Windsor since the casino opened.
Not only has it increased, it's diversified so much so that it's become part of everyday life.
She says of the 200 people they treated last year, about half were from Windsor. But as of this year, there has been a 30% increase in the number seeking help. And she says the online gambling is the main cause of that.
It's not just housed in brick and mortar anymore. It's not just at the casino. It's online, it's on social media, it's at the corner store in the form of lottery tickets.
The casino has partnered with the on-site organization called PlaySmart, where people can go for help. The casino has also received a responsible gambling accreditation through the Responsible Gambling Council.
And we're very proud of that part.
Tompkins won't give exact numbers, but says Canadian customers are coming back after the pandemic, and there's more growth in attracting Americans. She says the sports book that opened last year is also doing well.
Now we're going to bring Dale Molnar into this chat because not only have you been around long enough to remember the opening, but you were actually at the opening night gala. So can you tell us what that was like?
Well, it was a very big deal. Of course, this casino coming to Windsor was supposed to change everything, was supposed to revitalize downtown. The Detroit media were over here because they didn't have casinos back then in Detroit. The national media were here. I was co-hosting a live 90-minute special with Patty Heine-Sides at Trillium Cable at the time where I worked. Now going back to 1992, though, we're going to go back a couple of years here where it all got started. Developer Bill Doherty, he floated the idea of a small European-style annex to an arena they wanted to build downtown. The province said, no, that's going to be just way too small because people will be lined up forever, and it'll give it a bad reputation. So they went big and they put out some RFPs, and there were a lot of companies that wanted to bid on this. And the consortium made up of Caesars World, Circus Circus, and Hilton Hotels, finally, they were the ones that were the successful bidder, and they were the ones given the opportunity to build and run the casino. Now, there was also a very well-known man in the United States, a well-known businessman, who was also pretty interested in the casino, and he spoke with our CBC's Venture in 1993.
You have your eyes on Canada, and specifically on Windsor, maybe other cities with casinos?
Well, I love Canada, and I tell you, I have relatives that live in Canada, and it's almost like a breather to go up to Canada and get the fresh air and everything else, and the people are so wonderful. And I do indeed have my eyes on a casino in Windsor. I've spoken with the mayor, Mayor Hurst, and spoken with a number of people, and if we get it, we'll do a beautiful job. There won't be anything to compete with it. It will be a beautiful job.
Wow, Dale, what a throwback. So fast forward to today, the OLG is looking at renewing a service contract for the casino. Can you tell us what the status of that is?
Well, the OLG is keeping its cards close to its chest. Right now, they're reviewing proposals from different entities. They won't say whether Caesars is one of them, and Caesars won't say that either. And the OLG spokesperson who I spoke to says they can't give us a date when they'll be announcing the successful bidder.
Well, thanks so much for that, Dale.
Thanks.
As part of this week's Rose City Rewind, here's the story that aired the night of May 17th, 1994. It was done by former reporter Kim Christie.
The lineup started forming hours before the doors opened, and it stretched more than 2 blocks. They brought good luck charms, money,
Who is this guy anyway?
and enthusiasm.
This is the Burton family, and we're taking all the money back to Detroit.
I'm here to get some college tuition, hopefully. I need the money really bad.
Windsor Mayor Mike Hurst helped greet the crowd.
I'm very, very proud.
His executive assistant picked up litter and greeted visitors. The cars in the parking lot are from Michigan, but gamblers came from as far away as Arkansas and New York.
When you give them $200, they gave me $252 back in Canadian money.
You like that?
Yes, I did.
$14.95 American.
As predicted, business downtown noticeably picked up.
There you go.
Is it safe to say you wouldn't be having lunch here today if it wasn't for the fact that the casino was in town?
That's true. Very safe to say that.
As for reviews from gamblers, the decorating is a hit, but there is some grumbling.
Nobody's going to pay $1 for coffee and $3 something for drinks. When Vegas, they're all comparing it to Vegas, you know, where you don't pay for anything. No place to sit. That's why we left. My back's killing me.
I liked it, but the only thing is I think they were very congested as far as changing money in that, which you'll have to, it's an hour and a half wait in the line. Now this man didn't even gamble because
I couldn't get change to gamble.
He couldn't get change.
I'm happy. I walked out even.
Canada's top divers are making a splash in Windsor today as they compete for a spot on the Canadian Olympic team that will head to Paris this summer. Among them is Windsor's Maisie Woolenson. The 16-year-old is looking to perform her best in front of hundreds of students watching in the stands, something she says she isn't used to.
It was a little bit more nerve-wracking, and especially hearing them screaming, and like when I got out of the water I could hear them all, and like before I dove, like just feeling that a little bit more pressure, but it's nice to see them here. It kind of motivates me to try and do better as a person.
Gorgeous sunny evening tonight, and we're going to get lots of that this long weekend. We have your weather forecast coming up after the break. telltale sign that summer is upon us. The Windsor-Essex County Health Unit released beach water testing results today for the first time this season. Good news is no beaches are under warning, and with this weekend's temperatures, the beach might just be a popular place to be. Victor Paulo now with our weather forecast.
Happy long weekend Friday, Meg. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic Friday and hope you're all having yourselves a beautiful day as we get ready for this long weekend. Now, a couple things to note for the long weekend. Well, of course, if you do look outside right now, you would notice that some areas have received a bit of rain, and that rain is going to continue into the overnight, but of course, it's of the scattered variety. As you do see later on tonight, we're going to be anticipating anywhere between 2 to 5 millimeters. Some areas might just be getting a little bit of a sprinkle. Now, we do have some more clear nights ahead when we're looking ahead towards our long weekend, but the big treat about this long weekend is it's going to be a real sample of what's in store for summer, because summer days are ahead and it's going to feel like that, especially this weekend. Now, taking a look at what's going to happen overnight, a lot of areas from Sarnia, London, Chatham, Kent, including us over here in Windsor, will be having ourselves a foggy night. Leamington seems to be the only ones having themselves a little bit of cloud cover, and we're going to be at single digits, 6 degrees, unlike the rest of the area, which is more in the mid-teens. But as we do get into the rest of your weekend, we can see the big story here. A lot of that cloud cover, a lot of that fog that'll be around our area right around overnight and towards your Saturday is eventually going to clear. So as you do see the daytime temperatures, as you look at our 5-day forecast, will be a lot of sunny days, closer to 30 degrees. It's going to burn away a lot of that cloud cover as well as a lot of that fog that we're expecting. Now, we're talking about the rainfall amounts between overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. As you can see, not a lot of rain is going to be falling. Now, taking ahead of a look at how warm it's going to be, well, your Saturday is going to be 25 degrees. It's going to be the warmest place in the entire southern province of Ontario, and I know that's one place I want to be when it comes to this long weekend. Now, do take a look between now and Sunday. Again, a quick recap. You can see that it's going to start clearing out when it comes to a lot of that fog and a lot of that cloud cover. And why would that be? Well, it's because we have days such as Saturday where it's going to be a high of 25, Sunday a high of 28, Monday a high of 29, and let's not forget those double 27 days for Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, Windsor, hope you have yourselves a lovely long weekend, and over to you, Meg.
Thanks so much for that, Victor. Well, the head of Canada's spy agency has a stark warning about TikTok and its alleged links to the Chinese government. That story coming up after the break. Some encouraging news for thousands of residents of Fort McMurray, Alberta. The danger from a wildfire that forced them from their homes earlier this week has been downgraded. Julia Wong reports.
There is some encouraging news for evacuees from Fort McMurray. The fire danger in the area is now low, down from extreme the last few days, and that's all thanks to recent rain. Now, rain has been falling over the Fort McMurray area Thursday and today, and that's led to quieter fire activity, according to Alberta Wildfire. Now, to be clear, that fire is still a threat. It's still burning out of control, and it's still burning mere kilometers from the community. More than 6,000 people were forced out of Fort McMurray because of the threat that this fire posed, and many are now waiting the situation out. They say the rain has been encouraging, and they are hopeful about what that means. Now, officials say that they are working on a plan for residents to return. They previously said it would be Tuesday at the earliest, but it now seems like that date is open for discussion.
The rain is coming down on us, and that Mother Nature has graced us with that, and we'll take every bit of it. And with that comes, the possibility of a different return date, but we are going to make sure that it is safe to do so.
If they have it under control and they really, trust that they're giving us the right direction and everything, that it is okay to return, then for sure, we'll be going home.
The regional fire chief says they will be looking at a few benchmarks before people can go back to Fort McMurray. Alberta Wildfire says that includes the weather, how many resources are being put on the fire, and how much the fire has been contained. Officials hope to have a return plan in the coming days. Julia Wong, CBC News, Long Lake, Alberta.
The head of Canada's spy agency has a stark warning about TikTok and its alleged links to the Chinese government. Social media app has more than 1 billion users worldwide, but it has been deemed a threat by the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. Ashley Burke has the story.
TikTok's one of the most popular video apps in the world. It's a place where anyone can go viral. But the country's top spy is warning Canadians to stay away.
As an individual, I would say that I would absolutely not recommend someone have TikTok.
David Vigneault told the host of CBC's The House, Catherine Cullen, that China's government has a clear strategy. Use TikTok to acquire users' personal information.
Most people can say, what is it a big deal for a teenager now to have their data? Well, in 5 years, in 10 years, that teenager will be a young adult, will be engaged in different activities around the world.
CSIS found that Beijing uses computer farms that crunch data to develop artificial intelligence. Experts warn that data mining from TikTok could be used for deepfakes, blackmail, and massive data hacks.
When the director of CSIS is pointing out that TikTok poses a real threat to the data security of Canadians, I think Canadians need to listen.
Over security concerns, U.S. President Joe Biden gave TikTok's parent company a year to sell the app or face a U.S. ban. Canada has forbidden the app on all government devices, but the Prime Minister says he's waiting to see what happens in the U.S.
The concerns are that the data that TikTok collects on all of its users gets simply funneled to the government of China and is used to, potentially for nefarious purposes.
We're Canadian. Of course we buy our milk in bags.
Canadian comedian Matthew Pujitsky makes his living by posting content online to sell tickets to his stand-up shows.
If your main interest is protecting data, what about like Meta and Facebook, Instagram? It's all like they make money by literally selling your data. So I kind of find it hard to understand what their logic is there.
Some experts say that the bigger problem is that there's nothing stopping social media companies from selling users' data, including to entities with strong links to China. TikTok says that it's never shared Canadian user data with the Chinese government and wouldn't if asked. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here next week.